Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to From the Depths, and a much bigger ship than we had last time. This is possibly the biggest thing I've built, I think. It's supposed to be a battleship, but it's more sort of cruiser size, so that's probably what I'll build. And I just wanted to do a quick thing on how turrets and stuff work, because I've looked at some tutorials and they're terrible. And mainly I just wanted to look at how they work in big ships like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a turret down here. And the reason I'm going to build it down here is I want to show you how you can still use that turret when you're up there, because they have a limited range. So the first thing we have to do is go into build mode, and then it's in new object. This took me a long time to figure out. I was looking all over, thinking, is it in cannons, is it... No, it's new object because you're technically building a separate entity that will just be attached by a pivot point, I suppose. No, that's the wrong one. No, I've done that wrong. So, 360 turret. And this is the one you'll want, because the elevation control will be done by the gun itself, so you don't need to worry about this. The precision turret turns in, like, notches, so it'll go, like, 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree. 180... pretty explanatory. So yeah, I'm gonna go for 360 azimuth only. And I like to make it point in that direction, just because this is the back of the ship. So this is the back. Yes, this is the back of the ship. Ignore the number of propellers. I haven't unlocked the huge one yet. So we'll just somewhere about there. And you see that jumped up onto a new plane. So we're now building on the terraplane. You can see these blocks outline. That's a separate thing. To change between that, you use the square bracket keys. So there. So now we just want to quickly get some lightweight alloy blocks and build out a small base for this. Because I'm just building a small turret. Something nice and simple. Like that. Actually, yeah, it'll need to be bigger than that. Because you've got to mount the whole gun assembly. For the gun, you have the firing piece, which is essentially your receiver. If you think about it like a rifle. You then need to connect that with connectors to automatic loaders, I think they're called. Something like that. And then attach ammo boxes to those, and you get different types of ammo boxes, but we'll get into that. And then you get different types of barrel that you stick off the front. So first things first is the firing piece, which, oddly enough, has to be oriented the right way. Arrow towards the direction of enemy. You know, like claymores and stuff. You then... I'm just going to make a simple barrel, like so. So it's not particularly fancy, but it'll do. The other barrels you get are recoil suppression, so that reduces how much it kicks backwards and improves your accuracy. Flash suppression, harder to see you. Motor driven, it will turn around further, but if it's on a turret, it doesn't really matter, so that's more for like fixed gun emplacements. Elevation, should use it if you're only using the azimuth turret, but I'm making a simple one, so it'll be fine. And then gauge increase isn't a barrel, but is something you can attach to it, and that's effectively your caliber. So what we now need to do is get the six-way connector, and build off the side, like that. And we'll build a small-ish cannon, something like that. This is a pretty low-key, sort of. And you want to get the automatic orientation ones, because it is impossible to line these up. And you'll see they turn around on their own. I should have put symmetry on, and I forgot. Yeah. And see, when this is blue, you can't build off of that, so that's... They're a different colour. That's odd. But yeah, when it's blue, you can't build off of it, so these can't just be wherever they feel like. And the more of these you add and attach to ammo boxes, the faster you reload. So, ammo boxes. And we shall build. And these are just, like, ready-use ammunition, I suppose. So, like, this is the automatic loading stage, and these get reloaded by the ammo stores on your ship. You get these regular pieces of ammunition. You get explosive warheads and armor-piercing warheads. which every few rounds will have one of these on it, depending on how many you've put in. So that's... Oh, actually, something I want to do. That's the basic assembly for one. A nice little add-on is to have a predictor, which essentially gives you a shot trajectory and shows you where it's going to go and where it will end up. I think that's pretty much everything. Your ammunition is stored within your ship, if I can... Yeah, somewhere in there. And it doesn't have to have a direct connection, so this will just work as a cannon. So we can leave build mode, and then the turret points in the direction that we point. And the predictor is refusing to work, but... Oh, it's because I've turned off... Oh no! Okay, I've turned off my UI. Unfortunately, because F9 is my record button and also turns off UI, but you can see... It's a bit faster firing, because I have a lot of autoloaders attached to it, but... That's the basics of cannon building. A slightly more technical bit is to add the gauge increase, which that has to be on to... That button. Has to be added on somewhere to the gun. It can't just be out on its own or it won't do anything, so you just attach them. You can attach them to each other and it'll be fine. And you can see the barrel gets thicker every time I place one of these in. Like so. There we go, we've got a much bigger barrel now. We can't add any more because they won't be directly connected to a connector. We'll add some down the front, why not? And there you see the barrel gets bigger. Screw it, we'll add as many as we can. There, so now we've got a pretty hefty cannon. Because symmetry. So that's a pretty big gun now. Leave build mode, and it moves slower now, it'll aim slower, and you'll have much worse accuracy and firing rate, but you get a much bigger gun. The unfortunate thing is the recoil. Hang on, oh, if I go on to tab the U... That's annoying. Let's stand on top of it and I'll show you the recoil. Oh, do we hate me now? Is that what it is? Okay, well... Actually, you know what, that's pretty much the basics that you need to know. The barrel attachments do as they suggest. You don't have to place them in any order. It's just what you think, or what you think looks best. They do have limitations, like the flash suppressor will reduce your range and damage, but it makes you harder to be spotted. The gauge increases your damage and your range, but reduces accuracy, shell velocity, and loading time because you're loading a bigger projectile. Other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. So, thank you for watching this little tutorial-y, explanation-y, buildy thingy that I didn't steal the explanation from one of my friends because he worked out before I did. And I shall see you in the next one.